Yo, we flying through the internet. We got low battery, but we ain't landing yet. Spider sugar, warning and dry. We interview guests while they rip the sky. Drones, jokes, and special guests. Power loops, draw spins, cash and checks. We doing Rubik's cubes like we riding a bike. This is the Land Now podcast, and I'm dropping the mic.
And we are live. Woo!
We're live?
Yes, live for the first ever take of our podcast. This is
It's
definitely not
It's the first one.
the first.
First
This,
and only one.
we've never
This
hit.
is the first.
This is not the second or third for sure. Definitely the first time I've hit record. I am joined by Spider Sugar FPV and Warning FPV, and I am.
I'm joined by Try Again FPV and Warning FPV.
There we go. And our guest, esteemed guest on the panel tonight, is the one and only Gringo FPV. Welcome, Gringo.
Gringo.
FPV. Woo! This is
Round of applause.
Gringo.
If you're watching this at home, make sure you
I'll
clap at the computer screen or on your telephone screen.
Yes,
Yep.
and I forgot
to show
to
support.
I forgot
and
to
hit that
inform
like
you.
button and tickle the bell.
Yes,
Tick-
I forgot to inform you that all guests have to supply their own air horns, so I apologize. But
no
we're happy to have
fucking
you with
air
us.
horns. Oh my god.
I'll air horn real fast.
Oh, dude, no.
All right,
Do not air horn.
let's not get
I think
spider.
No
I'll
air
have
horns.
access.
No air horns allowed.
All right, yeah, we don't want spider trigger FPV in here. So Gringo, welcome to the podcast. Most of us know who you are already, but for those that don't, tell us a little bit about you. How long have you been flying? All that good stuff.
How long have you been flying?
Well, I've been flying since January. I started in a sim, and
Wait, January?
yeah, January.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
Damn,
January was the ground zero day or day Z or whatever you want to call it.
Daisy.
That
They-
was
On the first
D-Day.
day, there
It
was
was D-Day.
Easily.
on the first day, Gringo went into the sim, and it
Yeah.
was good.
things were never
That's right,
same
yeah.
since the incident.
No, not the
Allegedly.
rectum or anything.
So you started flying the sim in January. What got you started in FPV? What made you decide that this crazy hobby was for you?
Truthfully, watching an Instagram reel where a dude basically dove a stack, a smoke stack, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
That
That's
was
crazy.
one of my videos, actually. You guys probably haven't seen
Did you shut up, you lie? Did you know when you watched that for the first time? Did you know like what you were looking at? Like what the hell this was? Like this camera? Is that what, like
I kind of understood, but I didn't understand how in depth FPV was. I didn't realize you can actually control every little movement of the quad. I was under the impression it was just you hover,
Like a-
and then go forward, and then yeah, that's pretty much it.
like a DJI camera drone? You thought?
Pretty much.
Because
yeah.
everybody knows a DJI camera drone. They've seen the Phantom fucking 1 through 10 or whatever the fuck they are now. They're like, oh yeah, I know what a drone is. Like, but
Funny
That's
enough,
sick.
I didn't even know what a Phantom was until I
Really?
actually got one.
Actually, my first.
well, you have a Phantom,
Yeah, I have the OG Phantom.
dude. Those are like the best recovery quads ever.
My first drone was a Stunt Viper from Walmart. It was
A stunt Viper.
a
Okay.
Stunt Viper from Walmart. It was a $40 plastic geared motor stunt drone, and it flew in angle mode, and it had flip buttons to do tricks. And I used
Oh
to
my
fly it. I used to literally fly it on my lunch break at work. I was working at a warehouse, and I would rip it around underneath the trailers and stuff, line of sight. So I was flying drones line of sight before I ever even knew FPV was a thing. Fun fact about me.
That's ridiculous. Anyways, enough about Try Again's sad entry into FPV. Gringo, what? So you flew in the sim in January. What? Like when after you flew the sim? Like how many hours did you fly? And then like when was like when you flew in real life for the first time? Like the time that you flew, and like
Well, it was
what was
about-
your first quad?
It was about 20 hours that I flew in the sim before I was like,
Okay.
you know what? I'm gonna make I'm gonna pull the trigger and go ahead and get me a drone. And Yeah, my first drone was actually the Cetus Pro, and I definitely don't recommend the Cetus. I don't recommend anything
That's the one
Beta.
that Beta FPV makes, right?
Yep.
Like that kit.
Yeah, it was like a beginner
Did you get
kit.
the whole? Did you get the whole kit or just
Yeah,
the
it came with the
Cetus?
goggles, the controller. I was like, the best thing that came out of it
Okay.
was the controller because I can use that in the sim. Um, but
Really?
the
Huh.
controller
Interesting.
actually was shit after a while. Like probably like a month in, it started to get these weird jitters. So like if I'm
Yeah,
flying and
it's
I
like
would like
drift.
turn, it would like, well, it would like yeah, kind of shake the cam a little bit, and I was like, ah, this is fucked.
Yeah, I've actually
And
seen
So
that
then
you
happen too.
so you're flying the Cetus Pro like outside. What was it? So for me, the first time I actually got in the goggles in reality, because I didn't fly in the sim at all to start off. I literally just got a 5-inch and almost killed myself in my basement, line of sight. And then once I finally got the goggles, like did it like translate to you? Like were you just like, oh my god, this is fucking sick? Because that, I mean, for me, that's how it was.
I mean, at first I didn't understand rates or anything, and I was like, holy shit, this is just like the sim. I was like,
Really?
yeah, I was like, whoa, this is crazy.
Speaking of
And
picking it up fast, I mean, this dude's a ripper. I'm gonna start playing his videos in the background here while he talks. But
Oh shit!
this
Yeah,
kid's a
I
ripper.
forgot
For
to
those
ask
of
you because sorry, I try again was gonna say what I was gonna say. So
Yeah, I mean,
try again. Say
for those of you that don't know Gringo, we're gonna start playing his videos here in the background. This kid's sick, man. I mean, he's
yeah,
only been
Gringo is an
flying since
absolute
January,
ripper.
February. So I mean, less than a year into it, and I mean, he's on par with some pro pilots that I know. I mean, he's better than me, and I've been flying for 7 years. So, yeah, we're gonna have his videos playing here. What do you fly now? I mean, your first quad was the Cetus X. What's your go-to quad
Yeah.
now?
What are you flying now? Definitely. Yeah.
right now I'm flying the Stingy V2, with the Speedy B stack in it, and
Is
I've
that a 3-inch
honestly
or
had it
5-inch?
5-inch.
Oh, okay.
It's
Yeah,
Sorry, I live
it's
under a
made by
rock.
X Hover.
yeah. Most of these videos are going to be with the 5-inch, just because
Okay.
I have a I have the Grinderino right now, and I'm having problems currently with motors breaking on me. So
Hmm.
the 5-inch has been the most reliable for like, I guess, slamming in the walls. Um,
They
as
generally
far
are.
yeah, no, yeah, they're durable. I've only broke one motor since I started flying 5-inch, surprisingly.
Really,
So did
what
you
motors
build
are you
this
using?
quad? Oh my
Oh
god.
Um,
yeah.
So-
what's that?
No,
He
sorry.
asked if you built the
I,
quad.
did you
Oh
build it?
yeah,
Yeah.
I built it, yeah.
So
So
Still,
you knew how to solder and everything all before this?
when you moved
Or
from
was
Yeah.
it
the
like your first time soldering?
Well, I messed around with micros for like the first, I don't know, like h- the first 6 months of me flying.
did you fly a Cestus for 6 months and we're like, hey, why'd I rip all my hair out? Or did you get something different for that?
Well, I liked micros for a while, but I was like, I need something that is a little bit faster and rips a little bit harder, because I mean, you only get about a minute, uh,
Yeah.
with the micro. So I was like, you know, at first I was just dedicated to just fly micros, especially because they're more affordable.
Totally.
And then I was like, you know what? Let's just go ahead and start flying a 5-inch and see what happens. And honestly,
Mhm.
I ever since I really started going ham with the 5-inch, I haven't gone back to micros. I
so,
probably will like occasionally, but as of right now, nah.
It's
that's
dude,
interest
it's really hard.
that's interesting
It's
to
really
hear.
hard.
I started with 5-inch and I was flying 5-inch for the longest time. I mean, my first quad was a 5-inch.
Same.
Recently, after 7 years of flying, recently I've been flying the tiny whoops like nonstop. They're just so easy. Everything packs up in a box. I got 20 batteries with me. I can fly just about anywhere. And so I've been neglecting my 5-inch. So it's kind of interesting to see how it swaps. But what I
You
wanted
know
to
what
go
sorry,
ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Well,
No.
what I wanted to
I was gonna say that what got me into micros was gorilla whooping videos like Zorro and Bot and shit.
yes, the gorilla whooping
I would have never flown a micro otherwise.
gorilla whooping
That's the main
and the
reason why I got a
racing.
micro. Gorilla
Have you
whooping and
done any
what?
gorilla whooping, Gringo?
No, not really.
Sorry.
I'm too much of a puss, and like where I live, FPV is not a super common thing. Like I had to completely do everything on the internet. Um, So me going into a target and ripping, I feel like I'd get kicked out real fast because they just
Have you
don't.
tried
That's
at
fine.
Walmart?
It's not
Like a
illegal.
Dollar Tree
Actually,
or
Target
something.
Target
Dollar
is
General.
if you want to go, for anyone watching out there, if you want to go gorilla whooping, go to Target because they literally have a policy where they cannot give a fuck. It's hilarious. It's really fun.
That's right.
Okay.
And this section of the podcast is brought to you by Target. Use code LANDNOW for 0% off your next online order at Target.
It's
Oh,
five.
yeah.
It's 5%. It's 5%
Sorry.
off any pack of Marlboro cigarettes.
Yep, especially when you use your red card.
So when you moved from the ready to fly kits to the larger drones, what was your first build experience like? I mean, you said you don't have a lot of people around you that do FPV, so I'm assuming you were probably watching a lot of Joshua Bardwell videos and trying to figure it out. How was that experience for you? Do you like the building aspect of it as much as the flying aspect of it? Like me personally, I find it as like a pain in the butt. I'd rather just be flying, but that's just me personally.
Honestly, I feel it kind of meditative to build the quad. So
Same.
going from bind and fly,
Yeah.
I was like, building your own's way more satisfying, especially once you get it off the ground and it's tuned good. No, that's the most satisfying like feeling.
Dude, I totally agree. Like, I when I first started, I literally crashed my first bind and fly, had no idea how any of the shit worked, and bought another one of the same, like the FR Sky, it was Radio Link from Eris or something like that.
Oh, the Eris,
And then-
yeah.
Yeah, the Eris Freestyle V2 or whatever the fuck it was. But I now today I highly recommend you just build your own because it's so satisfying. But try again.
Yeah.
To your point, I also get that. I wish I could pay someone to make a stack of the drone setup I like to fly, and then just have one. Maybe
Right.
maybe one day we'll be rich when we start making millions off this podcast. We can all have that.
That's right.
We can
That's
give
right.
everyone a free drone for coming on.
Once Beta FPV reaches back out,
Oh, that would be dope.
We'll know more about that.
Once
I'll
once
actually
Beta
pass on
FPV
that.
responds back.
Nah, never. I don't want a free drone.
There's a guy I watch on YouTube whose name is Sam Hoarder, and all of his videos are just watch me build a drone. And he's said multiple times that he likes building the drones more than he likes flying them. Like he just likes building them and then knowing that they fly and that he did a good job, and that's where all of his satisfaction comes from. And I'm like,
That's bizarre.
yeah, I'm like,
I was like, I
That-
don't feel that.
Honestly, yeah.
So he
I
likes
mean, I
he
like-
likes
I like
no
building
no
them.
no offense to that guy, but I'm sorry, but you like edging yourself. You really
I
like
recommend his
edging
videos.
yourself.
He does a very thorough job, but we're not here to talk about him. We're here to talk about Gringo. What was your first freestyle trick that you learned, and was it difficult? I mean, I guess you were flying in the sim for a while, so you probably had been practicing a lot. But what was the first one that you were just super hyped?
in real life,
Yeah.
that you nailed it. And
Yeah.
You're like,
You had
you
to
get
go
that
home.
feeling you land a skate trick. You're like, fuck yeah, I got it.
Yeah,
You
you're
know?
like I can't wait to get home and watch that back. That was sick.
Yeah,
I'd say the juicy flick.
Okay.
hell yeah.
It's the most
Wow.
satisfying beginner trick in my opinion.
How many
And it's still hard to master. I mean, I still get it fucked up sometimes. So
How many times did it take you before, when you were trying it out? How many times did it take you to get it? Because you can in skate. Because I compare everything to skateboarding. Because I'm too old and fat, and my bones are too brittle to skateboard anymore. So everything in my brain, FPV freestyle, goes to skateboarding. So what would
Well-
how many times did it take you to nail it really steezy, really smooth?
see,
No slop.
I'd say because when I first started, I was learning on an Xbox controller. It made it extremely frustrating to learn juicy flicks.
Right. The
so
stick
I-
resolution just isn't there.
Yeah, no, it just does not have the same throw or anything. And also, again, I didn't understand rates. I've slowly just kept bumping my rates up. It took me probably until I actually got an actual transmitter to understand how to do them. So probably longer than it should have. I'll say that.
I mean, Like when you went out, like how many times did you try like in real life? Like how many crashes? Or did you just go out there and nail it right away?
Well, I will say when I was first doing it in real life, I was using micros, and I'd say a good
You were
majority of
juicy flicking
micros.
micros.
That's what I'm saying. Is
This guy is
probably not-
this guy is not real.
Wow.
This guy is not real.
He's like, yeah.
I will say they're not the
uh,
easiest. So it took me a little while. Like once I moved up to the 5-inch class, Juicy Flicks became a breeze. Like
Oh,
it's
yeah, for sure.
it's one of those.
Dude, I
Because
still
Those whoops are
struggle
just
with
so
juicy
jittery
flicks.
and super sensitive.
All
I mean,
right.
I do too. Like it's one of those. Like if it's a hit or miss sometimes. I
What-
don't
what
get
are your-
clean every time?
What are your like rate? Do you know your rates off the top of your head? Just the three numbers,
They're,
not Expo or anything, or like RC, any of that shit.
I'd say the max rate's like 1200.
I
right
used
now.
to fly. I used to fly 1200.
Well,
I've slowed it way down.
Damn.
Wow.
If you watch my
That's
old
crazy.
videos, I was crazy fast. Now I fly like 0.7, 0.2 expo, like real slow rates.
I fly 900, 900, 850.
I think mine might even be slower than that.
I don't
I
even
can't
know
remember
mine.
the first rates where I actually started to kind of like use to learn tricks. Honestly, was off of a bot grinder, like how to build a tiny whoop
Sick.
video, and I was like,
Hell yeah.
okay, I'll try his rates out and see how that goes, and it worked for me for a while. And then I noticed like certain tricks I wanted to try, they just wouldn't really be that smooth, and I was like, there's got to be an easier way to do this, and I was like, all right, well, I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of bump up the rates a little bit, and I'm still learning rates. I don't fully understand because I bump back and forth between actual and beta flight rates. Right now I'm on beta flight.
Totally.
I started with beta flight, went to actual, then went back to beta flight.
Interesting. Once I found actual rates, I just stuck with actual. That's
I
like
did for a while.
that's like any advice. Like, if anyone's out there watching, like looking for advice on rates, just pick one and then stick with it.
I've heard the best way to tune in your rates is to grab your radio and either do this in the sim or real life. Fly your quad up really high, close your eyes, do a snap roll, and then open your eyes. And if you over rotated, dial your rates down, and if you under rotated, dial your rates up, because your body naturally wants to hold the stick for a certain amount of time for a snap roll. Like your body just kind of feels like that should be it. And so if you close your eyes and just like feel what you think is right and open it and then dial your rates to that, it's super helpful. And I want to say that was Stinger Swarm that had that tip. Speaking of
That's
Stinger
crazy.
Swarm,
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
I just adjusted myself to whatever number I picked.
speaking of
That pretty
pro-
much same.
Yeah.
speaking of pro pilots, who's your favorite pilot, and who is an underrated or like an underground pilot you would tell people that they need to watch?
Okay, so
And why
I
are they
did
both
see
me?
this-
No, I'm just kidding.
I did see this on the question, and I was.
Why are they
like,
both me?
It's hard for me to say because so I'm gonna sound biased. Bot Grinder is my favorite.
Hell yeah.
Just because I just love the chillness of it. The best underrated pilot, Spider Sugar.
Woo!
Yeah.
See, I win. I win.
That's a genuine.
That guy
That's a
right
genuine
there.
answer. That's a
No, he
genuine
said that.
answer.
He said it was a genuine answer. So
That's right.
sorry.
And
I know
Absolutely.
there's a lot of really good pilots out there, like Ox Plumes. I'd say he's a really good pilot and stuff.
he's
but,
definitely not
Yeah.
underrated though.
I'd say like to fit my style a little bit more, or like the style I wanted to push for. Bot Grinder was the guy that really got me into doing the juicy flicks and stuff like that. And then Spider Sugar's video, actually, I saw him do a crazy inverted yaw, and I was like, "What the fuck is that?" And I was like, "I want to learn how to do that."
Yeah.
That's
your-
like my
your,
signature move.
your
Inverted
check-
yaw over everything.
Your check is not coming in the mail. Okay.
That's a cool
So
trick.
I'll have you know that.
I'll say the first.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
I'd say the first trick that blew my mind though was a trippy. I was
Yeah.
like, "How
See,
the
that a lot.
fuck is
Same.
that possible?"
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
I remember when people were starting to do those, and then like little tutorial videos started coming out about it, because like at the time, you know, like freestyle wasn't really crazy. Like, I mean, it was crazy. You had Mr. Steele doing all the fucking crazy dives, and like, how was this guy just going through all these holes? And then I forget who was doing it first, but seeing the first trippy
Maddie
spin,
Stunts
you're like,
was doing the trippy spins first, and then
Maddie Stunts,
and then Ladrib put a tutorial out on him, and then kind of everybody started doing them after that.
I don't know who Ladrib is.
saw
Let's
that
never speak of that
tutorial.
person again.
Yeah.
But anyways, like once you start seeing, you're like, it literally. I wouldn't call it trippy. Just from experience, I'm not gonna say how or why, but like it's definitely like it's like mind bending. Maybe
it depends on
maybe trippy is the right word.
If you understand,
I'd say it was definitely trippy the first time I saw it. And I was like, I see why it's called that. I'd say inverted yaws are more trippy, especially if you do like a tracked inverted yaw.
Dude, and tracked inverted yaws are insane.
My
Like
favorite trick is the
feature flies,
skewed.
fucking doing that shit. Ox blooms, all like that's nuts. It's like Spangs shit right there.
I'd say Vitrifly is the one that kind of showed me a little bit of those kind of tricks.
Totally, yeah.
I actually ended up showing Try Again one of the tricks you showed me. I still can't do it.
That's
but...
right. I did it for the sim challenge. One of my clips, it said Gringo showed me this trick, and it's like an inverted yaw track in one direction, and then you like dip your nose and throw your quad back the other direction, and then track the opposite way as you're flying back. It's incredibly hard. My next video is going to be attempting it in real life.
I'd say speaking of that challenge, I think it's funny how like when I said thanks, Try Again, people thought I was calling you out. Which is funny. 'Cause
They're referencing the on my live stream. I have challenges every week. I did a sim only challenge, just so if you're not aware of what they're talking about.
Should clarify that.
That's right. This portion of the podcast is sponsored by the Spider Sugar FPV live stream on Fridays.
It's not. In fact, it's disavowed. I'm kidding. It's just a joke.
Which one thing I want to say about that challenge is I love Grand and I love Singularity, but I think
3D is disqualified.
3D and a challenge when people are flying acro, I feel like it's kind of unfair because there's stuff you could do with 3D.
It was just watching one clip and then watching one of the 3D clips. There was just you can't compare them, and it just even though and 3D is difficult. Don't get me wrong, but it looks magnitudes more difficult than it kind of is. But because it doesn't look natural to anyone that flies normal like acro, you're just like, what? So yeah, they definitely got wow factor for 3D.
Springing off of that, Gringo, what do you think is the future of FPV?
3D.
Yeah. Like,
and where do you
think
see
it's
yourself
3D?
I think 3D is going to eventually take over the freestyle.
What Try Again just said. Sorry. Say that again. What?
I think 3D is going to take over the freestyle space for sure. If people can master it, just because you can fly through bandos inverted, I think that's crazy.
Yeah, and
I totally agree with you. I think what's gonna happen is this: freestyle, like regular old freestyle pilots like myself, we're just gonna get faster and faster and crazier, and then the 3D pilots are gonna start doing the same thing, but in insane, weird, mind
inverted trippies and
I mean, you gotta think FPV freestyle's been around for so long that there's only so many combinations of flips and rolls that you can do before you've pretty much done just about as much as you can. So the next step is obviously adding an additional dimension of flight to it.
And try again. You're gonna ask a question. What was it?
My question was, you've been flying since January. You're approaching your 1 year mark. Where do you see yourself? Like, what's the future of FPV for you? What are your goals? Do you want to become a YouTuber doing FPV more officially? Do you plan to do it somewhat commercially, or is it just a hobby? Where do you see yourself in a year or 5 years?
Truthfully, I see myself more doing it as a hobby because I got into it originally just to impress the bros. I'm not gonna lie, just because it's intense skate.
I think that's everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I don't ever really expect to make a living off of it. That'd be nice having another income because my current job is, but I'm not gonna hold a gun to it. I think it's one of those that if it takes off, it takes off. If not, I'm having fun either way. I'm not really, like I said, I'm not in it for the attention. That's why my videos are kind of shit because I make them kind of
Don't
purposely.
disparage yourself. He's trying to be
Don't.
modest.
I'd say
Okay.
like
Trying to be
First of
modest
all,
right
humble
now.
guy.
First of all, they've been watching your videos
Guys,
this entire
I don't
time.
want anyone
Oh, they're
to
sick.
see or anything. But also, here's this fucking sick line that
Right.
is like, blah, 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 blah.
Like your
like I
videos
said,
have
it's
been
more
playing
to
in the
impress
background. We
pros.
know.
If I really wanted to, I'd get a GoPro and slap it on there and have stabilization.
What's your
Now,
favorite?
Oh,
wait. Hold on one sec. So, there's two camps. I think it's funny, and I want to ask you, like, as far as like, this is what I think. So, you have no stab and you have stab. The no stab, which is no stabilization of video. If you're not wondering, or if you're wondering and you're not aware of what that is, it's more for like other people who fly FPV. And then you have stabilization, which kind of bridges the gap, makes people that maybe might not be into FPV get into it a little bit more, bring more people into the hobby. Where do you stand on like the no stab or the stab?
What do you enjoy to watch more? Because I mean, obviously your
yeah,
videos
what do you
don't
enjoy
have-
watching more?
Obviously,
no
your
stab?
videos don't have stabilization.
I love the raw footage. I like seeing it straight analog. You can see exactly where the quad's going. Whereas like if you have stabilization, you can be this is no offense to people that are good that use stabilization, but I feel like it can make you look like a better pilot than you actually are. Whereas like if you have
Totally.
raw footage and you have a clean line and it's smooth and like just looks good, then I think that to me is more important than like, because that to me that gets more into cinematic type stuff, and like I feel like it's just an opinion.
That's a great
Valid
point.
answer.
That's a
Yeah.
perfectly great point.
No, I agree.
The reason why I ask is because like I feel like there's a lot of pilots out there who are really, really, really good, but like don't really have like a super pro tuned quad or can't afford to have like all new props on their quad when they fly every time, so it's always a little bit twitchy. Like when they're flying, they're doing amazing shit. Like they're amazing pilots. No,
You need
I wouldn't
props,
say
bro.
amazing,
Do you need
but-
props?
Yes, I do. I'm actually on my last pack of.
I'll
high
send
bench
you
props.
I'll send you like 10 sets of props. I got a whole box of Gem Fan
What?
props. They're not a
Oh.
sponsor of the
I was
podcast.
already gonna do that. You can't take that from me.
I'll take
I've-
20 packs of props. Fuck it.
I've got like 100 sets of props sitting around, so I'll send you.
Or
some.
you-
Well,
I
what
go
I was
through- I go through a lot.
saying before I was so rudely interrupted by this gift contest
Almost fell out of my chair.
was that I think there's a lot of pilots that they're not getting the recognition that they deserve because they don't have access to things like things that other pilots do that like really makes those no stab flights super smooth and like not jittery at all. Like, that's my own personal opinion, and that's why I use stabilization in most of my videos. Obviously, other than for entertainment value. But
No,
That's
I mean,
right,
your
ladies
videos
and gentlemen.
are
You
so-
heard it
like,
here
when I
first,
first started-
folks. Spider Sugar confirmed fraud.
I did a whole video about I'm a fraud. I'm a fraud.
I'd say Spider, when I
Oh.
first got into your videos, you were using raw. I'm pretty sure you were using some sort of like 75 millimeter or something like that. Like,
Oh yeah, I do tons of that.
So,
It's a mixture of both.
I know you can do good even without the GoPro. Like that's what the GoPro. Like I said, the GoPro doesn't bother me if you're a good pilot or anything. But I feel like it just makes it too smooth for a lot of other. Like I don't know. I like seeing the correction and stuff like that.
I totally get that. And one of the things that I look for in stabilized footage to tell if people are really like cheating really hard is if the footage is really shaky, the props will pop
Yeah.
out in the bottom right or left corner of the screen. So if you see like a trick or something, you're like, man, that was sick, but you see the prop poke out a little bit, you know it's a little sketchy.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I'm in the opposite
there's
camp.
ways to judge it. But
I'm in the opposite camp. I've been flying FPV since before stabilization was a thing, which sounds crazy now that I'm saying it out loud, but I mean,
it is crazy because that's
go-
fake. It's not
not
real.
fake. The
Stabilization has always existed.
I-
You wouldn't be able to fly your quad without it.
when I got in, well, I'm saying
Video linked
stabilization.
below.
I'm saying video
I'm kidding.
stabilization. People weren't there. Real steady go. You had to have crazy mounts, and it was really only for like cinematic, like Cinewhoop stuff. Everyone was flying GoPro Hero Session 4s that the onboard stabilization was terrible, and so I've never done stabilization on my video. I bought this DJI Action 2 like this year, and put it on a cruiser quad
Really?
and did my first videos with stabilization, and I was like, this is almost like cheating. Like it looked so good. And I've never been like a quad tuner or anything. Like I slap Betaflight on it, my rates, and then I go and I fly it.
Dude, I do the same thing.
So
Yep.
all my
I don't see any
videos
of
are
my
just like Jello City, like prop wash, whatever. But I'm like, I don't care. At the end of the day, I'm a proximity flyer. I don't do a whole lot of crazy lines. I like to find places you shouldn't put your quad and put it there. And so that's kind of tricks through gaps.
And you
kinda
do.
my thing.
You're very good at that.
And so, yeah, I'm totally no stab. But since we're talking about kind of the evolution of that, I want you, Gringo FPV, to name, what do you think the next FPV trick name is going to be? Like we're getting new FPV tricks here and there. I want you to name the next FPV trick. We're gonna document it right here.
Yeah, I'm
The
hold
next
on.
FPV
Let me
trick
get
will
out my
be
notpad.
named-
1 second.
We'll call it.
I gotta get out my
Slick Rick.
notepad here. All right, I'm ready.
Slick Rick.
The Slick Rick. All right.
Slick
Slick.
Rick.
Slick Rick.
Wait, how do you spell that?
I think it's S.
S. Yeah.
Hold on. I got.
Not a normal S. It's one of the S's you drew in middle school, where it's like the six
the S you
lines.
drew in middle school.
It's a dollar
Yeah.
sign S.
Yeah.
It's dollar sign.
Dollar
It's a
sign.
dollar sign S.
Yeah,
It's a dollar
yeah.
sign S.
Slick Rick.
What?
So,
what-
SLIKRICK.
So there's gonna be some oil
Okay.
involved, obviously.
There's definitely
Um,
some more. Wait, this doesn't have to do with Diddy, does it?
Oh no.
Is there baby oil
no,
involved?
no,
in
baby-
this-
no
in this
baby
trick?
oil
Too
involved.
Soon. Too soon.
Yeah. The Slick Rick is where you just douse the pavement with baby oil and then slide your quad under your car.
Hey.
Oh
Or
no,
under a gate or
I'm
something.
pretty sure that's the California slide, bruh. It's the California slide. Yeah.
All right. What's the craziest FPV story you have? Like the crazy thing that's ever happened to you while you're out flying, or just craziest FPV thing you can think of?
What he means is what on your journey to go fly, what was the craziest time that you had on your way, or like did you? For me, the craziest time I've ever had flying is when we went to this bando in Georgia and there was a home bum with a crossbow throwing rock
Wow.
cells.
Nice. Yeah.
Wow.
The old Daryl Dixon.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I haven't had too many like negative encounters or anything like that. I've made a few trips out to different locations, and the videos just ended up as shit. So, I mean, that's probably the worst thing that's happened is that. Or there was one time where we went out, and I actually got really sick footage, probably the cleanest I've ever flown IRL, and DVR corrupted. Hence why
Ooh.
a lot of my
No.
footage looks shittier than what it is because I've since got a SkyDroid
Yeah, I have
analog
one of them.
receiver.
Huh.
Yeah, you mentioned that you were gonna give me one whenever I won one of the prizes.
Yeah,
actually,
sorry,
this-
my
That's right,
ADHD
folks.
brain
This
is
just
like,
in: Spider Sugar again.
Ooh,
Confirmed
look at
fraud.
that frame.
it's got the John Hancock on there twice.
Very
you
nice.
Just
It does.
you made me sign it. You made me sign it.
That's right. That's going on eBay tonight.
Yeah.
I was like last night. I was watching. You did this vlog where you like went out with your family and like I think a friend of yours to go fly and you're like under this bridge or something. like,
Oh
you're,
yeah. No, I did have a
breaking
horse
in.
encounter.
You're like breaking into like that. Or sorry, you weren't breaking.
No,
in. There was no breaking
there
happening.
there was no. yeah, we
Allegedly.
legally got permits to.
I
go
watched
do
them
it.
sign the permits.
Hmm.
Karen,
This was
Karen, I
also
see
in
you.
Mexico.
Yeah, it
So
was in extra northern New Mexico.
yeah,
Or,
and it was with the a micro anyway, so it wasn't even that big of a deal. But
I was curious because I was like watching it in the background, kind of like half on, half off, and I see like, oh, like I look at there's like video of you hanging out with your family, and you're like picking up or like looking for beetles on the ground, and then you're like trying to get through a fence.
they were
You know,
actually
like
upset that I posted that part. They're like, "We look stupid."
I thought it was I thought it was endearing. I was jealous. I was
I
like,
thought
oh,
I thought it was funny.
I think that's the best part about
I
that's the best part about vlogging, the FPV vlogging, is like you feel like you're along for the ride. And so like I can watch flight videos. I'm the kind of guy, I like to watch flight videos. I know a lot of people say like, oh man, I can't just sit there and watch, I like flight videos, but there's just something about like, hey guys, come along with me and experience my shitty day with me. And you're just like, yeah,
totally.
me too. And I'll tell, like, I was posting flight videos for a while, and when I started doing the vlogs, I mean, that's when my channel really went up. So getting in front of the camera,
I
getting people introduced to your personality, it builds a real connection, and a lot of people will come from that.
I'll say the most views I have on my channel were from those vlogs.
Oh yeah, because people want to get to know
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, they want to get to know who the Gringo is outside of the sticks. You know,
I went on hiatus because I was flying micros when I started those vlogs, and I was like, you know what? I want to get a little bit more skill under my belt before I start having a YouTube channel about flying quads and stuff like that. Because whenever I posted those videos, that was right before, and I think it was like 2 months ago actually. It was right before I made the switch from micros to 5-inch.
okay.
So
And
Yeah,
speaking about,
it's actually. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Marie.
I was gonna say, like, just going off of you, like, if there was a certain place in the world, like, where would you want to go and fly? Like, I know you've probably done some bandos and stuff too, but like anywhere in the world, any country that you'd want to go to?
France.
Oh yeah,
France.
A lot of
France
Okay.
the
has so
a
many
lot of the
bandos.
dude, one of the dudes in Spider's Discord, he posts a lot of the
Apollo.
yeah he
Yeah.
Apollo. He
Yeah.
posts a lot of
Yeah,
these videos of these bandos, and I'm just like, how the fuck? Because
dude, that shit
I've
is so
searched
insane.
high and low to find like the right bando, and the closest one I found was um uh it's actually right down the street from me, surprisingly, but
What?
yeah, it's like maybe a 5-minute drive if that.
That's
And
awesome.
it's I don't know if it played. It was one of the first videos that played. The slaughterhouse video and the one where I was diving into the holes. That it was that bando.
Yeah, the bonus
But that's the
clip.
most
Dude,
intense.
that's crazy,
That's the most intense
man.
bando I've been in so far. I would like to experience more like legit multi-storied holes in the floor type bandos.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll
Because I've
see
Dude,
been
people
you'll
doing
have to
power loops and stuff. That's super cool. Yeah.
Give me a hole
when I
saw
move
in
to
about 20
Alabama, you'll have
minutes,
to come
brother,
out and
and I can
visit
hook
because I
that up
have
for
some
you.
good spots.
Oh hell yeah, yeah no. And Alabama's not too far from Texas. At least it's closer than South Carolina or wherever you're at.
Yeah. When I was in Alabama,
Yeah,
I
South
didn't
Carolina.
see quite a lot of bandos or anything like that, but at that time I had no idea about FPV.
I don't want to like spoil it or anything, but in my recent experience, I would say that in the United States, aside from a couple places in California and like New York, like Alabama contains the United States like most premier bandos,
Hmm.
and they're preserved. They can't be ever torn down or fucked with. They're just in their decaying state until they crumble into the ground after a nuclear apocalypse.
Hell yeah,
See,
roll
I'd
tide.
say going back to the question,
Roll
if I
Tide.
was to go anywhere,
Don't you
honestly,
ever say that.
the East
Sorry,
Coast.
Rigo.
No, the East Coast seems like one of the most lit places to fly drones. I mean,
Detroit's
that's
got a lot
also
of
where
bandos.
Yeah.
Detroit.
New York.
Detroit has a big FEV following, I
There's
guess, but
there's a lot of cool spots in Detroit, but the best ones are in Ohio.
Gary, Indiana has a lot of
oh,
bandos. There's an abandoned church in Gary, Indiana that's like super
Gary,
famous.
Indiana.
That's
We have
okay.
that's
places
a
like
suburb of
To
Chicago, kind
Gringo's
of.
point though, you have like the gates of hell and like places like that. They're just like they just are existing for no reason at all, and like they're huge structures.
They're
is what he's saying.
existing for us to
Yeah.
fly drones in
To
them.
rip.
Also,
Yeah.
finding spots to dive would be cool. Like doing
Yeah.
a dive down something, not in
Yeah.
front of, but down. That's another challenge that I have here. Is like the closest thing I found was that bando that has holes in the roof. Like that's probably the closest I've gotten so far to an actual like
I
diving
think
in a
that's
hole.
I think that's something that everyone struggles with. Like, you can find spots. You're like, oh, cool. Like, I can dive that, and then you go there and you like scope, it's like scout out the spot, like do a pack. You know, like you're scoping out stuff, like looking at it, like, oh, maybe I'll do it. Oh no, fuck no. And then you go look at it in person. You're like, god damn, like it's hard. It's I forgot. My brain just blanked out there for a second. But
No, I feel that.
there's not a lot of tall abandoned structures like all over the country.
Yeah.
You're 100% right. Here in South Carolina, there's a bunch of abandoned uh, textile like mills,
Mhm.
bleach places, and most of them are filled with cobalt. So it's not great to go fly there, just as long as you don't dig too much into the ground. But there's some sick smokestacks that you can dive all the way down in.
See,
I want
That
to go to one of those places where they have like the nuclear cooling towers. Oh, like those spots.
oh
are
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
that would be
Somewhere
that
in
would
like
be so
Germany or
sick.
I
something.
mean, it'd be cool flying around it, but as soon as you dive down inside of that thing, you're gonna lose video footage most likely.
I think what
I
they
would
do is
Yeah.
I think what they do is they stand right underneath
The
like
tower.
the tower so they can
Mm.
get signal inside and outside. My big
I
thing
will-
is like I've seen so
I
many
will-
videos of nuclear cooling towers, and every time they're just like really like slow. And I know they're so big, so the scale is like you can't really go crazy fast on them without it looking slow. But like I'm like, man, like there's just so much more stuff I would want to do at a nuclear cooling tower, and I feel like a lot of people just fly up them and down them, and then that's kind of it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But I want to say that to your point about the people standing in the bottom of them, you can do that on those like the nuclear towers. But there's this guy in the UK, and I forget his name. I forget what it was. He explained it one. He like mostly does shorts, like on YouTube, like shorts videos, or like on the the TikTok, uh,
TikTok, tac tac.
tap tap, the
Tippy top.
zippity bop, the
Mhm.
zing boppy, where I'm pretty sure he only flies analog. Sorry, I got distracted by a cat that's in the room. Anyways, that you lose video in the tower, but they like just basically like diamond thumbs. Like, do you remember that shit?
Just
Like,
go off their
do you remember
gut.
fucking diamond thumbs, like hold
Pure
the
intuition.
spin, you know?
I heard some news that there is a place in Chicago that has a theme park that might be closing down soon.
Wait, what? Really?
Oh.
Yeah. So like I heard that Six Flags might be closing. And so that might be a place. Like I've always wanted to go to an old abandoned, like one of those theme parks. And I
That's
know
like in
That
your
does sound super
backyard.
fun.
yeah, it's not far. And then I know Louisiana has one too in New Orleans.
There's a
Is
there's an abandoned it's like no, what is it? It's like a luge track, but not a luge. It's like where you get on the rail and you're in a car
Yeah.
and you got the there's one of those in Indiana.
yeah, like
It's
down a mountain.
There's like a
Yeah.
go-kart track, and then there's also like a ride on like trail or luge track or something. It's pretty cool.
Mhm.
Gringo.
See,
Oh, sorry, my bad. Go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, flying an abandoned park would be amazing.
Yes.
There was
All the
there was
slides and
getting distracted by this cat. There was a theme park in Las Vegas that a couple friends of mine that live there, um, that it was shut down during COVID, and then it never like fully reopened for a while. And I tell you what, after watching those videos, I was like, damn, that would be the fucking sickest shit ever. Because there's like all those like big towers and structures and like the roller coasters and shit. Like someone out there should make a theme park map in Uncrashed. That would be fucking awesome.
That
Yeah,
is a
that'd
good
be
That's a
idea.
super
hell of
cool.
a feat.
Speaking of Uncrashed, I've actually got. I had two questions I was going to ask you, but one of them was, what's your simulator of choice? We can make this one quick. Like, what's your favorite sim? I know I've played Uncrashed with you, but
Uncrashed.
is that just for the
Un-
variety or the feel, or
It's mainly for the multiplayer because I met most of the people that I talked to in FPV off of Uncrashed.
nice?
Okay.
It's been like probably I'd say playing a multiplayer sim, regardless, like Liftoff or Uncrashed. I felt like Uncrashed was the more like arms open community, but I feel like using the sim, you can make so much more connections off of just meeting people on there and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I
That's
met some
right.
like really cool dudes on Uncrashed.
And then
Really good pilots too.
oh, dude, insane. There's a pilot I met on Liftoff whose name is
Oh,
Ploop, and he's insane. He's like the fastest quad pilot I've ever seen. Uh, but okay, what is your favorite FPV video of all time? Like the Holy Grail. Like this is one that you watch. You've watched multiple times. It's like your feel good FPV video. And then what is the video you're most proud of? Your favorite video that you've ever made?
so so touching on the FPV videos, I watched so much FPV videos that there's not one I specifically go back to, but if I was, it'd probably be the Ox Plumes video
Dude,
where
hands
he's
down.
going around doing like weird trippy, like close trippies, weird power loops. Like to me, the tricks he's doing are very simple, but like the more simplistic things are, the harder they can be. Like especially if you're doing it clean.
Dude, I feel like Ox Plumes has he's like the Neo of FPV. You know what I mean? Like
The chosen one.
he's broken the matrix. He's just like, oh yes, of course I can do an inverted yaw spin trippy through the up through the fucking building and back down again. Like this is all fake. Like do
Yeah,
you even realize that you're in a simulation?
yeah, for real. But
That's
we're
what it,
definitely in a simulation. Just a heads up. So
we're in Ox Plume simulation.
Right. This portion of the podcast is brought to you by All Plume.
This portion of the podcast is brought to you by Flat Earth.
So what's
Okay.
your favorite video? Like when you look back on all the stuff you've done in FPV, what's the one video where you were like, that was just a banger? Like I don't know if I can top that, or it's just your favorite one to date.
I
No
will say
pressure, no pressure or anything.
Yeah, because
so.
everyone, millions of people are going to tune into this podcast, and they're all rushing to your YouTube right now to
Dude,
watch this video.
tens-
So pick a good one.
Tens of people are gonna watch this podcast.
Right.
Tens.
Oh yeah,
Right, somewhere
yeah. I'm
between
looking forward to
3
it.
and 5.
Somewhere between
Um,
3 and 5
Oh,
at
yeah.
least.
I'd say there's like multiple of my videos where there's certain aspects I like, but honestly, it's always the most recent video I did because the most recent is the one that I have more experience with.
Right. So
I don't have
you feel
like
like you're just progressing, and every time you.
yeah. I try like I've mentioned it before, I think in Discord or when we were in voice chat before, but I try to one up myself on every video I make, or at least do something I didn't do before.
Yeah, I think
Dude,
everybody should do that, honestly.
that's how I feel like every video that I make, every freestyle rip that I put out, I feel like it's the best one that I've done. Every
Yeah,
single one. Because I'm always like striving to do something different. It might not be the most visually appealing to like your everyday person. Maybe even people have like watched my videos before, but there's always something in that video that I personally am proud of that I like did, and there's a reason why it's in there. You know, like
there's one video
you know,
you did specifically that I thought was super sick, and I think you were at like some sort of gym, like the inside of a gymnasium or something like that, and you were flying a micro. It could have not
okay,
have been a gym, but it was something where you went and then there was like a metal structure, and I think you like inverted yaw or something through it, and I thought that was like mind bending. I can't remember. I saw it on a bot video
okay,
when he was watching one
uh,
of your your videos.
yeah.
Huh.
I don't remember, but also there's lots of videos out there, so
Yeah, no, I don't expect
That
you, but
that sounds pretty insane.
no, I thought it was pretty cool.
So
Um,
what did you do
Oh yeah.
before? What did you do before FPV? What was your hobby before FPV, or what were you known for?
What were you doing fun? What were you doing for fun for
no,
FPV?
I'm not gonna lie. I went through like 100 different hobbies. I did boxing for a little while. I used to make my own wine.
Wow.
Flint napping. And in case you don't know what that is, flint napping is basically you take a piece of rock and make an arrowhead out of it.
Okay.
Um,
My man
just
was real
random
primitive out
random
here.
things. I messed with RC cars for a while. So far, FPV is the one that I've stayed the most focused on out
I-
of
Dude,
all the
same.
hobbies I've done so
Is
far.
is that
And why do you
because?
think that is?
Well, yeah, and
Um,
to piggyback off that, I
skate.
was gonna say, does it feel like more rewarding than the other hobbies? Like you feel like you're getting more out of it, or it's just more fun,
Well,
or
I'd say like the main hobby, if you want to consider it a hobby, I don't know. Skateboarding was like the main thing I did from like 14 to I'd say like 25.
Same.
And my body, like Spider said before, my body can't handle taking impacts like it used
you're
to. Is
older
much
than
reason why
25?
yeah, dude,
Shut the fuck up.
I'm almost 29.
Oh wow.
I know I
There's
don't sound like it, but
I thought he was
there's a
17.
there's a common theme in FPV that my friend Grim Ripper actually like made a little documentary ish uh, about, and like there's a lot of us aging skateboarders that are just like our body. We want to do it. We want to get the adrenaline rush, and we want to like smash into things
Yeah.
and do it over and over and over and over, but
Yeah.
we can't do it.
yeah,
I
no,
feel
that's
like I'm
exactly.
an outlier there. My hobby before this was music production and DJing. I was never a skateboarder or a
Which is still pretty
BMXer.
cool. That's a good skill to have.
I did
Yeah.
that for 13 years. I
Creative
still
mind.
dabble.
My
Yeah,
my
Still dabble with
hobby.
it, but
I'm try again. My hobby before this was trading on the stock market, and
I've never
yes,
touched a stock in my
He
life.
actually used to be an accountant.
No.
I used to be an accountant.
I
That was my hobby.
I did music production, DJing. I was actually touring, playing music festivals, and then I got really depressed, quit, and a bunch of people said, "Hey, you need to pick that back up again and try again." And I was like, "Oh." And as a middle finger to those guys, I as a middle finger to those guys, I released new music under the name Try Again, and they were like, "Ha ha ha, keep the name." And then when I started drones, that's why I used Try Again as my name for drones. And it's really
I like
screwed
your
me
I,
in the
I like your
behind,
handle.
okay? It's really screwed me in the behind because every time I crash doing something stupid, I'm like, if I don't do this again, people are going to be like, oh, you should change your name to Try Once. All right, ban this
That's
guy.
funny.
That's funny. That's funny. So we're nearing the end. I think we still have like 15 minutes.
We got
10 or 15
we're at
minutes left.
53 minutes right now, but we can go over a bit.
So before the stream ends, we're asking every guest that we have it's gonna be funny because you're gonna tell us a joke. What tell us, come on. Tell us a joke. Tell us a joke.
Come on.
Oh,
Tell us
Come
a
on,
joke,
tell us a
mate.
joke. Come on.
You're a clownfish,
Tell us a
ain't you?
man.
Dance,
You're
monkey,
putting me on the
dance.
spot. I was like, normally I have a bunch of corny jokes, but I can't think of any right now. I'm
Tell-
more of like
no.
a in the moment
He
kind of
drones
guy.
walk
All
into
right,
a
all
bar.
right. Well, yeah. Three drones fly into a bar, and everybody went home
Four-
because they were broken.
I was
Four
like,
drones
being a
flew into a
comedian was
gringo.
being a comedian was never my hobby. So, um,
That's fine.
all
We
right.
can circle back to it. You can think of one. All right, right now, off the top of your head,
It's fine.
Pick three companies to sponsor you right now.
Tell us a joke right now. Come on. Tell us a joke.
Gym fan.
Okay.
That's the joke? Man, that was a bad joke.
I was like, truthfully, I can't think of too many others. I mean, any kind of motors. I like T-motor.
Okay.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
mind being
Gym fan,
sponsored
T-motor. Those are good.
Okay.
by or Zing or Shing.
That's
I think
iFlight.
somebody.
iFlight.
Fuck iFlight. You don't want that.
No, okay, no, never mind. I don't want that sponsor.
But iFlight, if
No,
you're listening, we'll still take your money.
iFlight, if you're listening, try again. We'll take your money.
And I know a lot of people talk down on it, but right now it's all I pretty much know. I like Speedy B's stuff.
Dude,
Yeah.
there's
Same.
nothing wrong with Speedy B. I use them in all my like FPV airplanes, and they're totally fine.
Mhm.
Yeah, see, I've never had.
I
I
have
mean,
speed beam in my quads.
I
They
did
feel
have to
really
tune
good.
it. That was the thing is, people were like, "Oh, you could just use stock Betaflight." That does not work on Speedy B, at least
Yeah.
for what rates I use. I don't know what
Huh.
was going on, but it would have like these weird jitters, and so I had to
Interesting.
go in and change some of the damping, and I had to lower the damping and then change a bunch of shit in it. But
That's
yeah,
wild.
no, I respect Speedy B. The only other flight stack I've had was Brain FPV.
The
Crazy.
Radix.
Okay.
Yeah.
My like go-to stack company is T-Motor, like hands down.
I've heard that the Hobby
motor,
Wing
yeah.
stacks are like some of the best out there. Like
So
all
the
top
Hobby Wing
racers use
ESCs
them.
are good, but the FCs suck balls.
Okay.
Personal
Warning.
opinion.
Warning. What are your 3 sponsor picks?
Oh, if I were to be sponsored, it probably would be like Gem Fan. Probably. Definitely Speedy
Gem
B.
fan.
Yep. And who
Yeah,
else?
I use so much Gym Fan.
Well, gosh,
Yeah,
guys, I sure would love to be
I
sponsored.
really like Axis Flying for some reason.
Oh,
Like
dude,
for
Axis
some
Flying is
reason, I
sick.
really like their motors. Like I
Really?
just think they have smooth motors. Yeah.
What is
Because-
it about Axis? What is it about
I don't
Axis?
know.
Did you hear
I don't know.
the owner of Axis Flying and his wife, they started a new company called Deep Space? Patrick Watkins did a video
What?
on it. They
Oh,
started
wow.
a new motor
Okay.
company called Deep Space, and so
Really?
the lead designer and owner of Axis Flying and his wife are now running that company, and they're making brand new
Wow.
motors.
Okay.
Huh.
Maybe I gotta switch. I don't know.
Never
I don't
heard of
know.
that before.
All right,
The
Never heard of
future
Spidey,
will
that.
tell.
what are your 3?
My 3 sponsors?
Yeah.
Oh, that's easy. Gem fan. Hey, Gem fan. Thank you. I love you. Buy Gem fan props. Only Gem fan props. Mike, I saw you really really drunk, and we hugged a lot. It was a great time. And tattoo batteries who refuse to answer my emails, even though I don't ask them for anything.
Boo. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Try
Answer
again.
this guy's
Try again.
emails, please. Come on.
Answer my emails, Tattoo. Seriously, I've been flying your batteries on literally everything except for like 1S for years.
Forever.
Forever. And my third one would be Chase Bank.
All right.
Respect.
What about
I
Marvel?
already have 2, so I've only got 1
Chase
pick.
Bank.
I already have 2. I've only got 1 pick.
Mr. Fancy Pants over here.
First of all, I've
Must
been
be
flying for
nice.
Gym Fan for 5 years, guys. 5 years I've
Wow.
been flying for Gym
Dude,
Fan.
he's been flying for Chase Bank for 5 years.
No, actually, I'm fifth third Spank. If anyone wants to hack me,
Third
but
Bank.
yeah, they're not even a full bank.
Chipotle. You've been flying for Chipotle for 10 years.
So I fly for Gym Fan and China Hobby Line. China Hobby Line was a recent development. I think the third one would be a toss up between Armatan or Tiny Whoop.
Ooh.
I don't. So China Hobby Line, ew, gross, poo poo pee pee. But Tiny Whoop, homeboy that runs Tiny Whoop is a super cool guy.
Which one,
That'd be
Jesse
awesome.
P, Nightwing, or Custom?
Jesse.
Yeah.
Jesse P.
So I would say let me retract my last 3 sponsors. Right. Well, Gym Fan.
Oh
for sure.
God, here we go.
Here we go. Here we go.
I was
here we
gonna
go.
say no battery option's good because I definitely I'm going through batteries like crazy right now.
Same all the time.
Yep.
Your last the competition we're doing tomorrow, I couldn't get a good trippy in because my batteries kept sagging. Good
Ooh.
batteries, they're tattoo, but they're old as fuck.
Yeah.
And yeah, those were hand me downs. So
Can I
that's kind of
plug?
like
Can I plug right now?
another story.
China Hobby Line is doing a Black
China
Friday.
Hobby Line batteries suck ass.
I was gonna say
They're doing a
I
Black
never
Friday.
had that.
They're doing a
It's
Black
bad.
Friday sale.
I
It's
have
lasting for
China
a
Hobby
while.
Line too.
They're
was
doing a
gonna
Black
say
Friday
I like
sale, and they've got lipos that are like almost
Wait.
50% off. I mean, you can get 4S lipos for $10, 6S
Gringo
lipos
is
for
trying to tell
$12.
you. Gringo is trying to tell you.
no, I was
China
gonna
Hobby Line
say
batteries suck ass. I'm kidding.
no. I actually like their stuff, man, because I use them for
They
time.
make good. They make good batteries. They make good
I've
batteries.
been flying
I
their
still
batteries
have
for a long
mine.
time. I mean, even 4 or 5 years ago, I was flying their white batteries with a pink label on them, and I mean, they're just tanks, dude. They're hard to kill.
And then my third one, I would say Umagod Motors. But here's the thing with Umagod. I do not like the inline. I'm having problem. That's where I have the motors are smooth. They rip hard, but as soon as it bumps into something, it will strip a bolt and like on the
Oh,
motor
really?
mount, and
In,
yeah, it's
in
done
your
for.
experience, in your
In your
experience,
experience.
In your
In
experience,
my
yeah.
experience, yeah.
and I will
Maybe we're
say,
just gonna have to-
in my personal experience, I've bashed the fuck out of them. QC shit happens, but uh, I don't think Tommy's ever gonna watch this video.
I don't know. He might.
Tommy, if you're watching this video, sponsor Gringo
I texted him and asked
so
him
we
if he
can break
wanted.
more of your
And
motors.
Loctite sponsor Gringo too, so his screws stay into his motor.
And
Yeah.
Loctite.
I
What's
use
what's the
Loctite.
Loctite that you should use?
I use the
Loctite
Is it
blue.
blue
red.
or red?
Blue.
I use the
blue.
blue.
Don't use red. It
blue.
won't come
Loctite
out.
red.
Is
You
it
want to use
blue or
blue.
red? I don't
You
know.
want to use blue. Blue will come out with some effort. Red is, yeah.
I use a combination of both.
At this
Purple?
point, I'll use
Little bit of
red.
blue,
Green.
little
I
bit
was
of
like, whatever keeps that motor on there, I'll use super glue if I have to.
Yeah, I just put a little bit. I put a little bit of put a little bit of
I
Colgate
think
on
we've all
there.
used that.
I will say, Gringo, that your experience with those motors shearing the stripping, that is so crazy. I've had that happen with I've had that happen with T Motor Pacers and iFlight Zings.
Yeah, the T-Motor Pacers will do that too. That's why I
Yeah.
ended up going with the Umagod, because I was like, there's only 2 holes, it can't be that bad. No,
I'm
if one of
pretty
those
sure-
holes strip, it's done.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure I told you
Oh,
to get
like a
those motors
helicopter.
too. So sorry. Sorry.
No, yeah. No, you
Sorry.
did. But no, here's the thing: is if they added 4 mount holes instead of 2,
Yeah.
that's probably the best motors. Yeah, I love how smooth. I love
For
how,
you're talking about the micro motors, like 3.5-inch motors.
Yeah, the ones that I got for my 3.5. Yeah.
I've got a set
Because
right here. I can show them.
I have a set here too. The 5-inch,
Yeah,
These
I
motors-
have those exact ones. Yeah.
the 5-inch motors, if it'll focus. Come on, camera.
He's talking about these.
They
ones.
they mount 4-way.
So,
But I wouldn't honestly recommend these ones for freestyle because they aren't as tough as the FPV cycle motors.
I gotta be honest with you
personally
guys.
love.
Every one of my 5-inch quads has mismatched motors on it. All of my quads have mismatched motors.
You're one of them. You're one of
That's
them
I
Oh
fly
my
what I
God.
got, bro. I fly what I got. If I've got a box
Yeah.
of parts, if something breaks, I just grab something that's like close enough, and yeah, all my quads they've got the close enough treatment.
Yeah, my
Well,
grinder
Someone
Reno right
sponsor
now
this
has
guy some
6
motors too.
honestly,
Sponsor some motors.
Honestly, I've never reached out for a motor sponsorship. If I were to ever want a parts sponsorship, it would be Flight Stacks or a company that does flight stacks and video. Video is where I have the most issues. I break VTXs all the time.
Because you fly analog.
Yeah.
No, motors are the way to go. I've burnt through way more motors than I have any
Agreed.
flight stacks, any VTXs.
Really?
I mean, besides
Uh-oh.
antennas, but those are
Well,
pretty cheap to replace.
Motors. I
You do
I
rip
100%
pretty hard.
agree.
Dude,
Motors,
100%
motors
agree.
and
Do you wanna
props.
know how
Those are the
old
2
this
things
motor
Motors
that-
and
is?
props. Yep.
So
do you know
So,
how old this motor is?
we are we're nearing the end of the podcast. We only have a couple minutes left. Gringo,
we're at an hour 3 minutes right now.
Gringo,
Come on.
thanks again for coming on the podcast, for coming on the very first podcast. Do you have any
got a
anything
joke.
you want to
He's
say
gotta tell
to
us a joke.
everyone out in the podcast world,
Internet world.
YouTube internet world?
Andy's got to tell us a
Before we
joke.
go.
Andy's got to tell us a joke.
And you have to tell us a joke too. Sorry, it has to happen, or the podcast never ends.
No, I just want to say thanks for having me here. I don't really have much to say other than have fun.
There you go.
How much I could
That's
say
fine.
about it, like
Someone needs
as
to
No,
long as
that's
you're
clip.
great.
having
Someone needs
fun,
to clip
as long-
that and just have him and then just say "have fun" underneath it.
If
Yeah,
you guys,
absolutely.
if you guys aren't aware, Gringo has also been pioneering what we've been calling So, the last thing I want to talk about before we go is the style of video. You've sort of embraced
I've got it playing again.
the shitty DVR, and it's not that you're seeing it. You're seeing it fine, but your DVR, for whatever reason, is like super corrupt. So instead of boohooing and whining about it like most people would, you just totally embrace it. And I think it's sick as fuck.
Sometimes I make it worse on purpose. Just because.
Yeah, it looks so cool.
Yeah, it's a cool style.
I personally love it. I've been calling it horror
It's
FPV.
I think it's
but like
the frame rate is what really gives it that like
What-
unique look. It's like the frame rate is real choppy, and so it gives it that like VHS.
I don't think the
vibe.
frame rate is choppy at all.
I
But
think it's the box goggles.
Do you think it's the box goggles? What are you calling it? Because I want you to give the final say on like what you are calling it.
I mean, I guess Gringo style. I don't know. I've never
It's
really.
Gringo style.
You should
Okay,
do it.
that's
thought
fine.
of it as horror. I kind of like the idea of like lost film or
Lost film?
footage. Yeah.
You should do
Okay.
a Gringo style competition for your stream, Spider.
Dude, that's actually a great idea. That's a great idea.
That'd be a
Yeah.
cool
How
challenge.
shitty can you make the DVR quality?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's it. I think that's all the time that we have for today. Thank you again to everyone for watching the podcast. Thanks to Gringo for coming out. Thank you, Warning,
Oh,
and
wait.
Try Again for hosting and
I got the joke. If
editing
he's not,
all of
If
this.
he's not gonna tell a joke, I've got the joke. You ready? I just thought it's
Try Again
genius.
is going to tell the closing joke for the stream, which is going to be a staple.
I'm
that everyone waits
gonna
for
offer
at the very
myself
end.
as tribute in Gringo's place, and I just thought of this. What did the pilot ask the front cashier at the flight controller hotel? What are your rates?
How many Okay, where's the bar?
What are your rates?
Okay.
That was good.
That's such
That
a
was
dad
good.
joke.
Oh, okay. I have to go take a shit.
Battery, but we ain't landing yet. Spider sugar, warning and try. We interview guests while they rip the sky. Drones, jokes, and special guests. Power loops, car spins, cash and checks. We doing Rubik's cubes like we riding a bike. This is the Land Now podcast, and I'm dropping the mic. We only flying through the internet. We got low battery, but we ain't landing yet. Spider sugar warning and try. We interview guests while they rip the sky. Drones, jokes, and special guests. Power loops, car spins, cash and checks. We doing Rubik's cubes like we riding a bike. This is the Land Now podcast, and I'm dropping the mic.